Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're going to throw some human design at you today because
Yes.
Jenna and I have had a hour-long conversation before even pressing record.
Let's be real. I jumped on this call and you asked how I was. And through my words, I started tearing up and we just had a 1 hour coaching session. And
Yes.
this is why it's amazing being friends with you.
Oh, gotta allow projector to talk it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give everybody a little insight
Sure.
to last night because I do think it's going to play into our conversation today.
Yes.
As everybody knows, we are crashing with my parents, and
Yep.
it is a lovely, beautiful moment in time that I'm getting to experience with them, but it's also a huge mirror for myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's showcasing any wounds that I have not met myself or within myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this was like a specific wound or just like an experience, but last night we're hanging out on the patio and little Chi, our little Archie,
Yes.
Chowini dog. We've been letting him off of his leash a little bit and letting him adventure around the patio while we're out there. And I was not in charge of watching him,
Mm-hmm.
even though I am because I'm his mother, so I should take responsibility. But I didn't have eyes on him.
Right.
Other people on the patio did. And all of a sudden, my mother instincts, first time I ever like truly felt them, kicked in. And I was like, where's Archie?
Mm.
And long story short, he walked all the way down to the road. They have 4 acres, and he was literally standing on the road.
Yeah.
Very, very scary and freaky. And
Little
there's
Archie.
other reasons why that's freaky from my childhood. Actually lost my childhood dog on that road.
Mm.
So it sounds deep, but it's also not that deep, right? Like it's also not that deep. And I found myself playing into victim mentality last night and today about the whole situation. And coming onto this call, Jess like just nurtured me for a
Oh,
whole hour.
yes. Happy to do
And
so.
we came to this conclusion of it can be simple
Yes.
and we're going
You
to get into
already
that.
know.
Yeah, you already know your answers. But
Yep.
funny thing, I actually fell running to Archie last night.
When you said wound, I almost wanted to interject and be like, "Ooh, and you have an external wound right now too."
Yeah, legit. I was like running down the hill and I have these they're not platform sandals, Jess. Don't make fun of me.
Okay.
But they're like I don't know what they're called. Osos, I think they are.
Oh, uh-huh.
Osos. Is
Yeah.
that the name?
It's something like that. I know what you're
Yeah,
talking
and they're
about.
like designed for plantar fasciitis. I don't have
Yes.
plantar fasciitis, but they just feel good on my feet
They're
sometimes.
cozy.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so I was running down the hill in those, and they're not designed to run in because
No.
they're a little high in the arch.
Squishy.
Tripped, fell, rolled in the driveway like I was either an old lady or a 7-year-old kid, and like scuffed up my knee and all of the things.
Wait, how old were you when your childhood dog passed away?
I was 12.
Okay. I thought you were going to say 7 and be like,
I mean, I don't know.
"Woo."
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I fell last when I was when I was 12. Oh, but it was a long night. And I
Yeah.
woke up this morning and I projected and shared all of that with Jess, and she walked me through it.
Yep.
And we came to the conclusion that it can be simple.
Yes.
You don't have to make everything mean something in your life,
Mm-hmm.
and you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to go down every rabbit hole.
Mm.
And it
Yeah.
could just be what it is. And human design can help you come to that conclusion within yourself.
Yes. I think that's the main reason why I was even really drawn to human design.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at first it's very confusing. But once you get
Yeah.
past that little bit, you're like, oh, that's easy. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I can keep coming back to this.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like that.
I think in life in general, like as you're just navigating life and trying to make
Mhm.
decisions about your life and live your most fulfilling life, but also in healing
Yeah.
and,
Yeah. Yeah.
growing your spiritual connection, if that's something that you are interested in and exploring. I think both just in your everyday life and in like this industry of,
Hmm.
I don't know, spirituality, energy, all the
Right.
things can seem so complicated
Oh, yes.
and overdone.
Yes. And like,
And we're not
you
complicated.
don't know, or like, you're not a special one to like have
Mm-mm.
access to this information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or even like you feel like you're the complicated one.
Oh,
Like you feel like
yes.
you're
Yes.
complicated. Like
Yes.
that's kind of what I was thinking is
Yeah.
that it just sharing that story, that everything that happened last night,
Mhm.
I woke up in a very like complicated energy
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
confused and being like, what just happened? And of
Yes.
course, like there was frustration and energy exchanged between like my family members after that, just because like, well, first of all, I fell. So I was like a little alarmed because
Yes.
I
Amped up.
haven't run down a hill and fell in I don't know how long.
Yeah.
So very like just a lot of stimulation
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
energy just like in the space.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
obviously went to sleep. And then I woke up in that and I was like, what is this? What does this mean? Like, what the heck? And I'm just someone who likes to find like that truth or that answer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that complicated.
Yeah.
Like it
Right.
wasn't that deep.
Right. When you actually connected to
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
Mm-hmm. And
Like,
sometimes the
there it
world
is.
can seem complicated, but we're actually
Yes.
not. The way we are designed and the way we are meant to navigate can be very simple and straightforward.
Absolutely. And it's very easy to lose sight of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Very easy.
Very can happen quite often.
Oh, it was a good morning. Good night and good morning.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. Um, yeah, there's so many things with like human design and this like complexity and simplicity like
Mm-hmm.
spectrum as well, just
Mm-hmm.
even within the system itself. Like I mentioned
Mm-hmm.
before, when I first saw human design, I was like, what? What is this? I need to, like, I don't have the download. I don't like intuitively know what all of this means.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I'm
But
not
that's,
raw.
yeah, nope,
You
not
said download.
channeling
I'm
it.
like, you weren't meant to download it. You're
Nope.
just meant to use it.
Yes. But yeah, but it was still knowing like, oh, there's something here. There's something
Mm-hmm.
here. I'm very intrigued by it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're just even looking at type strategy authority, all the things can change. Like,
Mm-hmm. I was like gonna say that's the something. That's the something that's here
yes.
that you really are like you're invited to use every
Mm-hmm.
single day and every moment in
Yep.
time. And that's what's going to benefit you and move you forward and help you align.
Absolutely. And
So
all the other
before
stuff is fun. It's cool.
oh,
It's
so fun.
useful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I feel like type strategy authority is like the
Mm-hmm.
actual foundation,
Mm-hmm.
the simplicity of the system.
Yeah. Before we dive into those again and kind of give
Yeah.
this refresher and kind of give some of these invitations, what are some signs that we're
Mm,
overcomplicating things or we're getting
yeah.
lost in that external reality instead of really living from our center and from our design?
Yeah. I mean, it's
Falling
like,
down the hill.
poop, that happened. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is literally overthinking, like that hamster
Mhm.
wheel of thought and just letting it
Mhm.
spin and spiral out of control and being
Mhm.
consumed by that.
And like trying to tell like in that spiral and in that over analyzation, it's like I feel like you trick yourself into thinking like, well, I'm looking for an answer.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Like
solving this.
I'm so yes, it's like this high
Yes.
of like, well, I'm solving something by,
Yes.
doing all of these Google searches or talking to all of these people about it and,
Hmm.
maybe even over journaling and like over
Sure.
self-reflecting. Like that
Yes.
can come in
Yes.
any, flavor. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's like this if you think you're solving something, like here's an invitation to pause and be like, first of all, is there anything to solve?
Yes.
And then two is thinking about it, getting you moving the needle forward.
Right. All in the head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Open
Yes.
head.
Yes. 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 Yes.
And I would say too, not just because I tripped last night, but because I've experienced it in many other ways.
Yeah.
I think a sign of us getting caught up in the external world and maybe overcomplicating our situation is like body symptoms.
Sure.
Could be getting a headache from that overthinking
Mhm.
or, getting stomach aches or,
Yeah.
obviously this isn't medical advice, but if you're
No.
having anxiety or panic attacks or you are disassociating and kind
Mhm.
of secluding yourself, those are all signs that like you're feeding into some narrative or story.
Mhm.
And that narrative and that story is feeding now into your body and your physical existence and your physical
Yes.
experience and showing up as these symptoms.
Yes. And even I would encourage people for the body symptoms, like there's so many things that we just associate with being our normal.
Mm.
But if you actually start to connect to your body, you'll be like, man, I'm really tight. Or like, I have very limited mobility in this part
Yeah.
of my body. And you just think, well, that's just my range of motion.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? Is it
Mm-hmm.
though? So that's also another kind of level of body symptoms that can really start to unlock things for people too.
Yeah. Can I go off on a tangent?
Of course, always.
Um, Last night before Archie
Yeah.
ran into the middle of the road,
Yeah. Oh, Archie.
um, I was actually looking at my new Ayurveda book
Oh, yes.
and doing the quiz to find out what dosha I am.
Yes. Yes, yes,
And
yes.
it was so funny because I was having like, Nick and my mom answer with me because it's a little trippy. Like you kind of want to answer correctly in those
Sure.
questions. And one of the questions was, how are your joints?
Ah, yes.
And it was like, the first question or the first answer was, I don't know, like pointy and crack a lot and stiff. The second one was, um, flexible and agile. And the third
Ooh.
one was large and plump or something, or well
Oh,
rounded.
yeah.
And it was such an interesting question. First of all,
Yes.
I mean, Ayurveda is very new to me, but I'm kind of
Sure.
going down this rabbit hole of exploring it and studying it and potentially going to integrate it into my life.
Yeah.
But that question kind of prompted this curiosity of like, what is your normal? Or like,
Yes.
what is your
Right.
baseline?
Yep.
What is correct for you?
Hmm.
And I mean, we don't ask that question a lot because we get so comfortable with our joints aching.
Yes.
Is that correct for you? Is that your body type? Is that just like how you're designed? Or is that just where you got comfortable being
Yeah,
and living and you haven't supported yourself out of that?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. I
Tangent over.
agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. And even like, this overcomplicating that I see a lot. I mean, I can be right there too, is really also so like, if we're talking about the body and what the body signals are, we also can look at our external world and
Mm-hmm.
those signals. And that can be, through specific people, just the outer reality as a whole. But even if, like a coworker or a friend is like, man, you've seemed really stressed lately, or like,
Mm-hmm.
you look like you're in pain or discomfort or, that sort of thing. Like that is also a sign, like, which I would say, like, are you also really in your head too during this time? Like all these things can kind of go together. But that's another one that you can just start to think like, man, others are noticing this. Like,
Yeah.
whoa, it's really starting to come up here. And it's external of you.
Yeah. And that's like a great thing to consider that if like maybe there is so much noise going on in your own head and so
Yep.
many things to think about, and maybe you don't have, quote unquote, don't have the time to pay attention to your body right now, pay attention to your day to day. Like like you said,
Yes.
what's happening outside of you. And I think too that can come through like triggers if someone or the same person is irritating you, or if
Yep.
you're being irritated in the same way, that could be a sign that, hey, this is something within you that you need to look
Hmm.
at. And I think
Hmm.
that feeds into also if you find yourself getting into this victim mentality
Yeah.
where, I think, I mean, we all are, but I have been aware of it popping up more and more just living at my parents' house, like
Sure.
being aware of when that's coming up.
Yep.
And that can sometimes sound like, what's happening to me? Like
Yes.
why is this happening to me? What
Yes.
is this happening to me? Or even playing the story or the phrase of like, I don't know. I don't know what to
Yeah.
do. I don't
Hmm.
know what's going on. This like I don't know, this like
Yes.
giving your power to something
Yeah.
external, that is that victim mentality playing out.
Yes.
Um and if you're asking yourself that question, I would just say, what if you did know?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
what if you did
Simplify.
know? What is the answer?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And luckily, human design can help us
Yep.
navigate any of these feelings or situations that we might find ourselves in.
Absolutely. It's just a great tool to
Mm-hmm.
be able to kind of anchor in and to go about things in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yes.
all you really need is your strategy and your authority, which your strategy pairs with your energy type. So
Yes, it does.
what
Absolutely.
why is the strategy important? Like why is that
Yeah.
one of the core things that if you were to take anything away from human design, if you were to
Hmm.
use any part of your human design or your chart, it is strategy and authority. And why is strategy important? Jessica,
Hey, quiz, go.
Mike, over to you.
Yes, absolutely. So, strategy is how you are energetically designed to take action in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds nice, right? Like to have some
Mhm.
clarity on how you're designed to take action. Oh, I like
And
that.
spoiler alert, it's not by overthinking.
Nope. Thoughts, not a part of it.
Pros and cons list, they're great, but they're not your truth.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And this can really trip people up because then once
Mhm.
you're like, "Ooh, okay, what's my strategy?" It's I feel like really only manifestors who are like, "Yeah, I get to initiate and inform. Got it."
Mhm.
And the rest of us are like, "Well, we have a waiting type
Mhm.
strategy, and you just said it's how you take action." Huh.
Who
That
said waiting is an action though?
ooh, exactly.
Right? Like, isn't
There's
it
intention with
technically
it.
like it can be a verb?
Yes. And I think
Well,
it
it
is
is.
in
It
this
is a verb.
lingo. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's
Waiting. That's an
yes,
action.
right, right.
Getting real deep over here,
Yes.
blowing people's minds.
Yes, and that's just it is how you get to play with the universe is a big part of your strategy. It's how the universe is trying to communicate with
Mhm.
you. And when you allow
I love
yourself
that.
to be in that waiting space, it's like, oh, I get to receive. And then
Yeah.
if that's through invitation recognition as a projector, if that's waiting to respond as a generator, MG flavor as well, um, then that's going to just feel more and more like home.
Yeah. I love that you said it's how the universe communicates to you because it's
Hmm.
like the universe for you, Jessica, as a sacral generator, it
Yep.
delivers you things to respond to.
Yes.
For me as a projector, a
Yep.
splenic projector, it delivers invitations to me. So
Yes.
these like yeah, like you said, this strategy is really meant so that you can sit in your body and your being and be at
Yes.
home. And your job is to take care of yourself in that space, in that waiting period. And the universe is literally going to bring things in front of you
Yes.
or to you
Yes.
to help you decide or, help you know where to go next in your life.
Yes. Yes. And I think a big support in like experimenting with this for myself is that awareness really heightens when you're leaning into your strategy. It's
Yeah.
well, and I can only speak to have the waiting to respond strategy for myself, but it's this like, okay, I'm going to be aware of my surroundings. I'm going to be aware of my
Less,
interactions. Where
less
before I
complicated.
was not. I was
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. It removes the complications.
Right. It's present.
It's like all that noise that was happening in your mind before when you were like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing in life. I don't know what do I do tomorrow with the schedule? All the random thoughts that are compiling up in your mind.
Mhm, mhm.
Your strategy, let's say, is to respond. Well, is there anything in that that mess to respond to? Okay, we'll go
Yep.
there. If
Yes.
there's not, then there's nothing you have to do right now.
Yes. Yes.
Simplifies it.
It does. It does. And there's, I think, more ownership, really
Mm-hmm.
honoring your strategy too. With
Mm-hmm.
similar thread for what you're saying as well. But it's also something, I don't know, I feel like I'm still leaning into every day, right? It's still a
Yeah.
concept and a way of living that's like
Yeah.
an experiment, right? It's
Yeah.
like unfolding.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of times I forget that I'm supposed to be isn't even a right word, but like I benefit from waiting for the invitation.
Yep.
Whew.
Right. Like, where am I pushing? Where am I forcing?
Hmm.
Like, oh, okay. That's the
Yeah,
opposite of my flow of energy.
absolutely.
Yes.
Um, okay, and then let's say someone is in Jenna, me. This is an episode for me. Let's say someone has gotten overwhelmed with the thoughts or
Yes.
the symptoms or the external world, whatever it is, you feel like life is complicated or you feel like your life is complicated right now.
Hmm.
You're grounding into this truth that the universe is communicating to you through your strategy.
Yes.
Let's say an invitation comes in for me or something is put in front of you to respond to.
Yeah.
Then what? What's the second piece
Hmm.
that we can use to then take action?
Yeah. That's all about your authority.
Mhm.
Authority is literally how you're meant to take appropriate action in life from that
Mhm.
energetic flow space. And I freaking love it. I still remember hearing what authority was all about and being like, I need that. Uh huh. I need to be here.
And it's so simple. Like
It's so
I feel
simple.
like we sound probably like we're geeking out, like our first time listening, you're learning or talking about human design.
Yeah.
But when you come back to these like two simple truths and two simple pieces of your chart,
Yes.
it's very true that your whole life becomes clear and what you're supposed to be
Yes.
doing in this moment. And then the next moment becomes so much clearer. And this is what we're here to like hopefully remind not only ourselves, but you of as
Mhm,
well.
mhm,
That strategy shows you where you could take action or where the universe is inviting you to take
mhm,
action.
mhm.
And your authority helps you decide if it's right for you right now.
Yeah,
Boom.
absolutely.
The end.
Yep. And authority is going to be more based on like your center definition. So
Mhm.
that's like strategy is going to be tied to your energy type, and authority is going to look more particularly for the centers that you have defined. And depending on what you got there, then it's going to tell
Mhm.
you here's your authority. So, like Jenna was
Mhm.
saying, she has a splenic authority. I have a sacral authority. And there's a variety of authorities that you can have. But yeah, this is all about decisions and that process of decisions. If
Mhm.
that's immediate, if you need time, if you need to talk it out, have a sounding board, all those things. There can be different flavors for each of us with how this looks. But once you know these foundations for yourself, it's just so easy to come back and check in and be like, I mean, for me, it's sacral. So it's very in the now. Uh-huh. Uh-uh. And if I'm cloudy and I'm letting that get like all muckied up with my mental thoughts, I lose that access to have a really clear authority and strong way of making decisions that are aligned for myself.
Mhm. And I want to add to that, we did dive into the most popular authorities
Yes.
in a previous episode. That's episode 6, and it's called Waiting and Decision Making. So if you'd like to dive a little deeper into your authority,
Mm-hmm.
um, go check out that episode
Yep.
because we're not going to go into
Yeah.
all of
We
them
go
right here, right
into
now.
way more specifics in that
Yeah.
one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, but and as Jess said, hers is sacral, mine's splenic. Mine is also very in the moment, but it's much more of a whisper than like a gut feeling.
Yep.
Hers is more of yours is a gut yes or no.
Yes.
Mine is like auditory. I hear like messages or I get this knowing feeling. And
Mm-hmm.
same thing, if I'm in my head, if I'm stuck in my head, or if I'm overcome with my symptoms of my body or I'm not taking care of my body, I
Yes.
can't hear my spleen because my spleen exists in my body. All of our
Mm-hmm.
knowings, our authorities exist within our body, not our minds.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yes.
And I feel like that's a big piece of it too. Like, let's say
Yes.
you are in a place of confusion or overcomplication in life, grounding back into the body.
Yes.
And I mean, you could clear your mind through your body
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, whether you're
Yes.
meditating and sitting with your body, or you need to go move your body to kind of shake out that stuck energy or
Right.
those stuck narratives that are playing out in your world and in your life,
Yep.
grounding back into the body is going to be the
Mm-hmm.
vehicle to that
Yeah.
clarity and to your authority.
Yeah. And even if you're listening to this while like driving around or in between things, like allow yourself to pause and take a few deep breaths.
Mm-hmm.
You know, put your hand on your heart, on your belly, and just like take a few breaths. And you'll be like, ooh, you'll feel this sensation, this like higher connectedness just automatically by having
Mm-hmm.
that intention. So, again, it can be that simple to get
Mm-hmm.
out of your mind and start getting somewhat back into the body and where you are at in the current present moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I just love the question too, like to access that authority
Mm-hmm.
or even to back it up a little bit, to access your strategy and your authority. You could ask the question of like, what is the universe trying to communicate to me right now?
Yeah.
And like trust what comes up when
Mm-hmm.
I ask you that question. Like trust the thing that surfaced to the top of like, this is what I want you to pay attention to,
Yeah.
or this is the person I want you to move towards, or the job that I want you to move towards, or the grocery store I want you to move towards. Like, what is the universe trying to communicate to me right now?
Mm-hmm.
And if you need to go a little deeper, check if there's something you need to respond to, or if there is a clear invitation on the table.
Yep.
And then trust, like, what if I knew what to do?
Yeah.
Trust that you
Yep.
do and ask yourself, what if I knew exactly what was right for me? and feel into that part of your body, whether it's your gut, your spleen, your emotions, and riding that
Right.
wave.
Yeah.
Those
I
are
mean,
really
that's
the
like
moment.
higher self vibration right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's actually allowing yourself that
Mm-hmm.
space to have
Yeah.
that clarity and
And
that
I would
knowing.
say too, like, if you are at a place where, I mean, we all get like triggered sometimes.
Oh,
It's like
sure.
there's no perfect world where you are I mean, there might be somebody like I never, the
Sure.
world is
It's
limitless.
possible.
We're going to dive into this in the map of you in the woods, this
Yes.
this literal limitless universe that we live in.
Mm-hmm.
So there is probably somebody who's just nailing it at following their strategy and authority. But it's very likely that you're going to fall off track or just get
Yeah.
distracted, I should say, not even fall
Mm-hmm.
off track, because
Mm-hmm.
distractions can be great too in their own ways. But if you do fall off that like sense of identity or sense of purpose or that
Yeah.
clarity in your life, also don't feel like you have to find it on your own.
Mm. Mm.
Like, I very much am aware of my own strategy, of my own authority. I'm very self-aware. I mean, I would say too self-aware. That's
Sure.
slightly my toxic trait of like self-reflecting too much.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
Um, but even me myself, who like I feel very confident in knowing who I am,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes need another person to like
Mm-hmm.
walk through it with, just like
Yes.
Jessica kind of walked through something with me this morning.
Yep.
So like I also just want to throw that out there, that it's
Mm-hmm.
okay too if like if you're not feeling totally connected to your human design, or if simplifying something right now feels
Mm.
almost complicated,
Yep.
like share it with someone, share it with a friend, go
Yes.
to your safe space and
Yep.
help them ground you back into your body and then back to your human design as well.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
I needed that today and I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Especially as, I mean, non-sacral beings, but as projectors, like
Yeah.
I just feel like, yeah, talk it out. Talk it out. You
Yeah.
need to. Like, literally, that's going to start to align things, and you're going to have downloads for yourself, and your own wisdom's going to come
Mm-hmm.
through. And then on the other side, the person just gets to reflect that back to you and be like, look at you. Bing, bing, bing. You got
You
it.
got it.
Yep.
Jinx. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is
Yeah.
there anything else we want to share? I felt like this was I don't know, an organic real life
Mm-hmm.
moment that
Mm-hmm.
led to a conversation that we wanted to share with you.
Yes.
But also it's what we're basing the woods in,
Yep.
ease and simplicity. And also,
Yes.
I would say connection is also a piece of it. Jess and I are in there
Yeah.
together. We're going to be inviting you into the woods.
Mm-hmm.
The woods is really an experience for self discovery and self knowing and becoming whole within yourself.
Yes.
And we want it to be simple. We
Yep.
want it to be easy. So everything we're creating in there is going to have that frequency and that tone and that energy to it.
Yeah.
But that's really what we wanted to give you today, is a taste of that in a very
Mm-hmm.
real life moment.
Yeah. And the other aspect will be like we will have that human design information.
Oh yeah,
So if
yeah,
you like our style and you're like, "Ooh, I want to like even though I'm listening to the podcast, I want to like see what these components are." We're going to have those components laid out in that more kind of educational um applicable way. Like
hmm
it's going to be streamlined to the point and like a very to the point.
to the point.
So hopefully you can like dig into those and be like, ah,
hmm
I get the nugget for this. And it's
hmm
not this overwhelming, confusing information.
For sure. And I
Yeah.
would say like we're going to keep the education very simple and
Yes.
easy and tangible. But then on the backside of that, we're also going to add real life experiments, because
Hmm.
like we, like Jess and I's experience, not just with ourselves, but with our clients, it's not like separate. Like we don't take you
Yeah.
out of your life and
No.
invite you into our education and our wisdom and teach you in our world.
Yep.
Like we very much meet you where you are at, and we
Mhm.
want you to be able to use these tools in your everyday life. Like we
Yes.
we don't want you to stop life and then go
Yep.
into the woods. The woods within is your world.
Yes.
Um, so we're also going to have ways to kind of spot these things
Hmm.
in your everyday moments,
Yep.
relationships, working environments, just the way I kind of shared it happened today for me and last night.
Yep. Absolutely.
The next time you trip and fall down the hill, you'll have
Literally.
resources to not overthink.
We are
Oh,
here for you. We are here
yes.
for you.
We are real. Real
Yes.
humans.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, I
Oh,
think that's good. Like this is also human design in its simple form. And
mhm,
it's like where changes are made. We
mhm.
can go down the rabbit holes, absolutely. But like this is the day to day changes that you'll see anchoring into your type strategy authority.
Yeah, I love that.
You do.
Well, thank you for listening, everybody. And I
Yes.
wish you a beautiful day, a beautiful week whenever you're listening to this. And if you enjoy our discussions and our candidness and our insight,
Hmm.
please go over to Spotify and give us a rating, or head over to Apple Podcasts and give us a rating and review, or
Yes.
even, and I should say, screenshot this episode and share it in your Instagram stories and tag us at While You Wait Podcast.
Yes, please. And if you want to follow, just follow so you
Oh,
get
for
those
sure.
downloads just automatically. We're here for
Yep.
that.
Yep. And I thought this is what you were going to say. If you want
Ooh,
to follow our creation of the woods
yep.
behind the scenes, we
Yep.
are giving little snippets of that on at the woods within on Instagram.
Yes, we are.
So
You
go
can
over
just
there
hang
and
out with us all sorts
join
of
our
ways.
join our wait list. Yeah, I know. Hang out with us everywhere. We're a good
Yes.
time.
We are a good time. And the wait list, absolutely. That's a great call out for At the
Hmm.
Woods Within because things are going to be rolling out.
Yep. And it'll be in the all of this will be in the show notes if you need to find it.
You got it. Perfect.
Cool. All right. Bye everybody.
Bye.